Scoffed, that is not your decision to make you work here to sell, not to hand out free merchandise. Do you realize how much that coat costs? She clenched her fists. Is a child's life worth less than a coat? A flicker of something, guilt, hesitation, something human crossed Caldwell's face, but it was gone as quickly as it came. He straightened his tie and exhaled sharply. Regardless, rules are rules. You're fired. Mia, clear out your locker and leave. Immediately the words hit her like a punch to the stomach. Fired just like that after 3 years of loyal service. She opened her mouth to argue, to plead, but she saw the finality in his expression. There was no point. Her body felt heavy as she walked back to the break room, ignoring the curious glances from her coworkers as she packed her things into a small bag. Her hands trembled, not for the cold, but from the injustice of it all. She had only tried to help. How could doing the right thing cost her so much? As she stepped out of the store for the last time, the icy wind cut through her coat, but it was nothing compared to the sting of betrayal in her heart. But what Mia didn't know, what no one knew, was that her story was far from over that night. As she sat curled up on her tiny apartment's couch, staring at the unopened bills on her coffee table, a notification lit up her phone. A message from an unknown number. Are you the woman who gave the boy a coat today? Please call me. It's important. Her brow furrowed. How did this person get her number? Hesitant but curious, she dialed the number. The voice on the other end was deep, serious. Miss Turner, my name is Daniel Whitmore. I believe you met my son today. Mia's breath caught in her throat. Your son, the little boy you helped at the store. He clarified. His name is Oliver, and I need to see you immediately. Something in his tone sent a shiver down her spine. This wasn't just a simple thank you call. This was something else, something bigger. Okay, where do you want to meet? She asked, gripping the phone tighter. My driver will pick you up in 30 minutes, he said. Please be ready before Mia could even respond. The line went dead. Exactly 30 minutes later, a sleek black limousine pulled up in front of her tiny apartment building. Mia hesitated. Was this safe? Who was this man? She took a deep breath and stepped. In the moment she settled into the plush leather seat, she felt out of place. The scent of expensive cologne filled the air, and the quiet hum of classical music played in the background. Across from her sat a tall, well-dressed man in his early 40s. His sharp suit and steely gray eyes screamed wealth and power, but it was the sadness in his eyes that caught her attention. You must be Mia, he said, studying her closely. I don't think you realize what you've done today. Mia frowned. I just gave a kid a coat. Daniel let out a small, humorless chuckle. No, Miss Turner, you saved my son's life. She blinked in confusion. What do you mean? He exhaled slowly and leaned forward. Oliver, he's been missing for 2 weeks. Someone took him. He escaped, but he was too scared to come home, too afraid of trust anyone until today. Until you. Mia's heart stopped. Oh my God, that coat you gave him, Daniel continued, his voice thick with emotion. It had a tracking device sewn into the lining. That's how we found him. His hands trembled slightly as he rubbed his temples. If it weren't for you, if you hadn't helped him, I don't know if I would have ever seen my son again. Mia felt like the air had been knocked from her lungs. She had no idea, none at all. Daniel sat up straight, his expression shifting from grief to determination. I heard about what happened at your store, the way they treated you. His jaw tightened. I own that company, Miss Turner, and I assure you what they did to you will not stand. Her mouth fell open. He owned the company. Mr. Whitmore, please, he interrupted. Call me Daniel, and let me make this right. The next morning, Mia's face was all over the news. Department store fires employee for helping freezing child. CEO takes action. The headlines spread like Wildfire people were outraged customers. Boycotted the store, protests erupted outside its doors, and within hours the company was in full-blown crisis mode. By noon, Mr. Caldwell, the very manager who fired her, was the one being escorted out of the building. By evening, Mia was reinstated, but not as a salesperson. Daniel Whitmore personally handed her a letter in his office. "This is your new contract," he said with a smile. "Congratulations, you're now the company's director of community outreach." Mia stared at the paper, stunned. I don't know what to say." Daniel smiled warmly. "Say yes and keep helping people the way you always do." Tears welled in her eyes as she nodded. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change lives in ways we never expect.